Hello everyone, welcome back to Sana IE. I'm your host, EXO. I hope you had a great week. It's Friday, man. I know y'all preparing for the weekend, y'all waking up, or if you're already up, you've been grinding all day, that you just now listening to it. I appreciate y'all tuning in, listening to Sana IE podcast. Once again, I'm your host, EXO. If this is your first time listening, I want to thank you for tuning in, dedicating your time to listen to the show. I appreciate you. All I ask is if you just want to subscribe or review on the show, I'll greatly appreciate it, and let me know what you think of it. Like I said, I hope y'all been having a great week. Me personally, I had a good week. It seemed like it's blowing by. We already headed towards March, man. I know these days, these weeks be going by so quick. These months are just blowing by like that. So we look up, and the whole month is just gone. Like I said, we already in March, and I'm really preparing for March. As far as my March episodes for the podcast, I'm going to transition into something that's near and dear to my heart, that's been on my mind and I've been passionate about, is mental health. I basically came up with March for mental health, for March, basically. For the March episodes, be March for mental health. And I just think mental health is like a big issue that should be discussed more on a daily basis. So on my podcast episodes for March, every episode will be based on mental health. The ups, the downs, the goods, the bads, the phases, how to cope with mental health, and some, just like I said, different aspects, different phases, just the different sides and everything about and dealing with mental health, so we can all, we all as a group, as a family, get more educated on how mental health affects us, and affects the people around us. And so that's what I want to dedicate every episode for March. Just every episode will be on mental health. As far as February, I accomplished my goal with the podcast, and that being every episode dealing with not mental health, but Black History Month. And every episode was on Black History Month or a Black historical figure. And this episode, I'm going to finish up with Malcolm X. And speaking of Malcolm X, it's crazy because as I was finishing up my research for this episode, I discovered that Netflix put out a Netflix special, or I want to say docuseries, about who killed Malcolm X and the whole controversial thing. And it's crazy how the universe works, that I'm doing episodes, these past 2 episodes on Malcolm X, and this docuseries comes out this year. I just found that like a coincidence in a way. But so I'm gonna but I'm gonna watch that this weekend and give y'all a little my feedback on it on Monday. As well as this episode, man, I got the quotes of the day. I got what I learned this week, and I learned quite a lot this week, man. Every week, y'all, I discuss what I learned. That's gonna be like a new segment on the show, as you already know, what I learned this week and what I learned this weekend. So what I learned this week, I got for y'all, and then as well as my March goals. March is here, and I'm going to discuss my goals for March with you guys and how I'm going to go about attacking them and the deadlines I have. I've been talking about having deadlines for the goals, and in March, I'm putting deadlines on my goals, and just got a lot of big things happening in March, working towards putting out more projects as far as music. And it's really just networking and creating and helping people uplift themselves, uplift their brand, and just really being an uplifting person all around me, to everybody around me. As well as I'm gonna finish up the segment on Malcolm X and what he did, and then I'm gonna discuss Monday's show. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Sana IE. If you had a long week, a rough week, a week where you feel like the whole world was against you, where you couldn't accomplish nothing, or everything just kept failing, man, forget about it, for real. Because it's a whole new weekend. Get this weekend, and get some rejuvenation. Get some time where you just get some time to yourself, and you just want to take some time and just get refreshed, like unplug from everything, and just get that whole mental clarity. Get yourself back to that clear mind state. And just don't think like the whole world's against you. Life's rough and everything. We all go through the tests, the trials and tribulations. They seeing if we really built for what we want to become, as well as just life is all about tests. So you'll always be tested. And if you're being tested right now, like I said, you're having the biggest test right now. You like, man, you feel like you're failing. You feel like you can't get nothing right. A blessing is on its way, man. Stay focused and just stay grinding and just keep going. Don't let it break you. Let it make you. Let it create and evolve to a whole new being. You'll realize your inner strength of who you are. But we're going to get on with the show, man. Sanai, it's Friday. I know everybody's ready for the weekend, ready to party, ready to unwind, ready to relax, man. Let's stay focused on what we're trying to do and what we're trying to accomplish. The weekend is the best time to put some work in for yourself, for your business. If you have a side hustle, just work on yourself for this weekend. That's what I personally use the weekends for. But I'm going to give y'all a brief break, and I'm going to get on with the quotes of the day, what I learned this week, and my March goals. And then we're going to go into the segment of Malcolm X. But if you like the show, if you want to review the show, you can review the show on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to review the show or send me any comments or reviews or questions, or who you think I should be on the show, or if you feel like I can help you with your business, your brand, or any way to uplift you, or even have you connect with one of my past guests or past people, hit me up. I'll be glad to help and be glad to assist in any way I can. So hit me at Sanai Podcast on any social media platform, as well as Gmail. If you got an email me at sanaipodcast@gmail.com, and I'll be gladly to help you out with anything you need assistance with. But I appreciate y'all. But as well as you leaving reviews, let me know what you think of the show. Like the show, subscribe it, send it to a friend, send it to a family member, send it to a coworker, send it to anybody you think that it can help out and uplift or educate. But I appreciate y'all. I'm going to give y'all a brief break, and then I'm going to get right back with it. Quotes of the day. I got 2 quotes for this Friday. The first quote will be, sometimes it's not how good you are, but how bad do you want it? You can be good at something, but if you don't want it bad enough, if you're not willing to sacrifice the going out, the partying, the eating out, sacrificing, the just being out, for wanting it bad enough, you have to make a sacrifice, and you have to as well as invest your time, invest your energy into that thing you want bad enough. You have to cut off some friends. You have to really just be on some alone times, get that solitude, and really just focus on your craft, hone in on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish, and build that burning desire. I've been discussing and talking about burning desire for these past few months. And burning desire is about how bad you want it. You can be good at something, but if you want it bad enough, that good can fade away. So you got to stay persistent with that drive and with that fire, and just really wanting to attain it, not letting anything else distract you or getting you away from what you want. Because when life comes with distractions, that's what life's about. Life tests you. Life will punch you in the face, and you're going to see how you're going to react. You're going to be knocked out, or you're going to get back up before the 10 count. So it's about how bad you want it, wanting it bad enough, having that burning desire, never giving up, never stopping, never wavering, and never letting anyone or anything deter you or discourage you or defeat you from what you truly want. Because if you truly want that, you will be tested in trying to get that and attain that. If it was that easy, everybody would have it. So it's all about the test. We're all about building you up, trusting the process, trusting yourself, and having patience with yourself in this process of wanting it bad enough, having that burning desire, and never giving up that desire, or never letting that desire waver. So sometimes it's not how good you are, but how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to invest to get what you truly want? That's what it comes down to. The other one I learned the other quote would be, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is a success. And that goes with building a team. When it comes to teams, you got to come together as one to come with one common goal, and everybody accepting their role to accomplish that one common goal. And that's keeping that team together is progress. You got to make sure everybody's doing their job and on their job and doing their task, and never letting that common goal or that mission that common mission statement, that mission that y'all have, never letting that fade away or never letting that change. It may change, but making sure everybody's staying on that common goal, staying on that focus, staying in that tunnel vision for that common goal. So keeping together is a progress, but working together is a success. Finding a group of people with that one common goal, that one common drive, who everybody has that ambition that can match you. You have that championship team who wants to win and believes in you and believes in what you guys are trying to accomplish, then that'll become success. So coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is a success. If you're starting out on anything, any business, any venture, find people who have that common goal as you, or wants to see you succeed, or wants to see you win in what you're trying to build. As far as with me, my business with Sana IE Podcast, it started with the podcast, and it's transitioning to many things because I'm meeting and networking with people who want to be a part of the journey, who's gravitating towards my energy and wants to help me create and wants to just, like I said, be a part of the journey, as well as me helping them attain and achieve what they want to achieve, help them with their goals and their plans. So it goes hand in hand. So once again, the quote is, coming together is a beginning, keeping together is a progress, working together is a success. Learn how to work with other people, work with your peers, work with other people around you, work with people smarter than you. Don't be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. That's what I personally think. So let's get on to what I learned this week. The first thing I learned this week, I learned about numerology and basically the yearly cycles. Like me, myself, I'm in cycle 2. And my cycle 2 year is basically about me networking and letting everybody know about the podcast. I created the podcast last year, and I'm looking up, and I can't believe it's like season 3 right now, personally. And I'm looking like, dang, season 3. And season 3 is going to be the longest season of the podcast because we're going 2 months strong with it, with the podcast, man. Maybe even 3 months, so, or 2.5 months. But we're going strong with the podcast, and that's what I've learned about the numerology. Is basically like the yearly cycle of what what year you're in. So what you would do, you would add your birthday or your birth month plus your birthday plus the current year plus 1. And then you would add those up and then keep adding it up until you get either a number 1 through 7. I'll actually post it on my Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram at BrotherX, I will post it on my Instagram, and you can see the whole numerology. You can check and test out what cycle you're in. It's crazy. I did it, and it hit my cycle to a T, and I read about my cycle last year, cycle 1, which is basically me creating something, which is the podcast I created. Like I said, now we're in season 3, and it's just really blossoming and it's blooming. So that's what I learned, and it's been real beneficial. That's how I'm gonna start operating off of the numerology. What else I learned was utilize the people around you. There's people around you that are, like I said, there's people around you that's smarter than you, that's wiser than you, that's more talented than you. Use them, utilize them. See how you guys can help each other out instead of you always looking for that handout for how can they help me, instead of it being more so as how can you help them. So if you help them reach their goals, they'll be willing to open up and help you reach your goals. So always be willing to help somebody when they need that help. Utilize the people around you. Utilize your contacts. I haven't said this in a while, but utilize the contacts in your phone. Utilize the contacts on your Instagram, your Facebook. If you still got MySpace, your MySpace, your AIM. If you're still aiming it, use that AIM. Get on LinkedIn, connect with the business people, and just really keep moving forward and utilizing the people around you instead of just talking to the same 5 or 10 people a day. One other thing is unplugging from the world. That's what I'm learning to do more myself, where I have to take, I say, a full day while I'm unplugging, as well as from social media. Because me personally, I think social media is so draining, mentally draining, and it's just a lot to deal with, a lot to focus with. So that's what I'm really trying to transition from, is unplugging from that, unplugging from my phone, and just really having a my apologies, I got cut off. But like I was saying, unplugging from the world and unplugging from your cell phone and just unplugging from people. Some days you'll need them days to go into like I want to say into your own self, where you just get that time for yourself, where you just really just being by yourself, working on yourself, and just taking the time out and being more in tune with what you want to do, and just being in tune with yourself, your inner self and your outer self. So unplugging from the world is one of the things I've learned this week, as well as listen when people speak, giving them the eye contact, being in tune with the conversation instead of being on your phone and looking at your phone, texting and everything. And I realized that too. Like we have a conversation with people, but we'll always be on our phone, texting our phone, on Instagram, on social media. But it's about giving that person that eye contact, the communication, just being in tune with the conversation, in tune with the moment instead of being on the phone. And that's what I've been learning too, just really listening to people and just putting the phone down and having conversations with people about different things in life, about how they are and how they're doing. So that's what I learned this week. As far as my March goals, my biggest thing is hitting the gym at least 5 times a week. February, I've been up and down. It's been up and down. So right now I'm just disciplining myself 5 times a week, getting in the gym. Working up to 6. I'm going to say 6 simply because I do push, pull, and legs. So 2 days, each of those workouts is I want to say 2 days out the week, if that makes sense. So it'd be 6 days in total. So it'd be 6 days a week, just getting my push and pull in. And I've been consistent with my workouts, but I've been slacking on my leg workouts. And that's why I really need to tune in and focus on my leg workouts instead of slacking on them. So that's what I'm really focusing on this month, getting in the gym 6 times a week, focusing on my workouts, being disciplined on my workouts, having that mind to muscle connection, and make sure I'm eating right, eating the right meals and getting the right fuel for my muscles and my body, instead of just eating any crappy food. So I'm cutting off the crappy foods this month, the fast foods and everything. I've been doing a whole lot of eating in, meal prep, and I'm gonna try out this meal prep service and see how it is. My cousin likes it, so I'm going to take his word. I'm going to check it out and see how I like it. But I still will transition to me doing my own meal preps and me doing my own cooking for myself. Another thing I does discuss for the March, from one of my March goals, will be every episode on mental health. I talked about it in the beginning, and that's just really a big thing to me. I want every episode to be dealing with and discussing mental health and helping somebody with every episode on mental health. So that's that. Another goal would be no bread. This month I've been doing no bread itself, so I've been really good with it. I would say my grade with it, I'll say a B-, because it was a few times, I'll say like 3 times out this month I slipped up and I did have bread with different things. But 3 out of 29 days, that's like a B- to me, right? Only missed 3, so I'll give a B- on that. And getting back to my weekly appreciations, yesterday, I did self-appreciation as well as the weekly appreciation, where I took myself out, took myself out to eat, got a massage, got a haircut, got a pedicure, take care of the feet, my boys. Just really take care of myself, because that's what it really comes down to, appreciating yourself. We all go through a lot within ourselves, within our lives, and it's time where we gotta de-stress, decompress, or just let it all out, and just have them days where we can just be with ourselves and just learn more about ourselves, and really just, like I said, appreciate ourselves, appreciate everything we've done. So I'm highly recommend everybody do a self-appreciation day once a week, where you're just taking yourself out, doing stuff for yourself all day and every day, and just doing that, as well as unplugging, having a day to unplug. So there's a self-appreciation day, and there's a day where you unplug. So they'll have those mixed in, but that's what I'm doing personally, having the more of the self-appreciation days every week, because that's what you need. Another one, like I was just saying, 1 day a week to unplug. So those are my 2 goals really for myself, where I have 1 day for a weekly the self-appreciation day, and then 1 day where I can unplug. So those are my few goals for the March that I'm discussing with y'all. As well as I want to know y'all March goals, what y'all monthly goals are for this month of March. We coming into March, and I just want to see what y'all goals are and let me know at Sanai Podcast on any social media platform or email me at Sanai Podcast on gmail.com. And I just want to hear, like I said, your monthly goals and the deadlines you have on these goals and everything. My deadlines for my goals, like I said, this month I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. So in the middle of the month, I'll say March. What we got, 31 days in this month? 30, 31? Check my calendar, my bad. But 31 days in this month. So I'm going to say March 15th or March 16th. I'll give y'all, or around that time, whatever day that is, for the episodes, I'll give y'all like a brief update on where I am on each goal and every goal. And it's really staying consistent with it and really just being disciplined. That's what it really comes down to, having that discipline within yourself and accomplishing your goals instead of living for the moment. Like, yeah, we can live for the moment, but stay focused on the long-term goal. That's what I'm really trying to focus on, because the monthly goals are every month they come in as like short-term goals, but the long-term goal, the goal to be where I want to be next year, that's what it takes each month. Each month is a stepping stone to my long-term goal. So it's starting out with discipline from every day. When you wake up, having that discipline, having my morning routine down, and just really just being in tune with what I have to accomplish, getting my to-do list, my intentions for the day, and just really getting a really more accomplished, more, what's the word I'm trying to get? More structured in a way. But those are my March goals, and that's what I learned this week. And we're going to switch to our main topic, finishing up Malcolm X, and I'm going to give y'all a brief break and we're going to get into that, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in to the show, liking the show, subscribing to the show, share it with a friend. And, man, like I said, I want to hear what y'all learned this week, as well as you guys' March goals. So at me, comment me, review me. Let me know what your March goals are. Let me know what you learned this week, and I'll incorporate them on the show and give y'all feedback. Appreciate y'all. So in the last episode, I left off on talking about how Malcolm X wasn't interested in the Nation of Islam until 1948, when his brother Reginald wrote to him that if he stops eating pork and doesn't smoke cigarettes, he'll show him how to get out of prison. So with that, we carry on to 1957, where America became aware of Malcolm X because of the Hinton Johnson incident. The Hinton Johnson incident, and Hinton Johnson was a member of the Nation of Islam. On April 26, 1957, Johnson and 2 other Nation members were passing by and saw two police officers beating on an African American man with nightsticks. When they tried to intervene, shouting, "You're not in Alabama, this is New York." That's when one of the officers turned around and started beating Johnson. Johnson was beaten so severely that he suffered brain contusions and subdural hemorrhaging. All 4 men were arrested, and a witness told Malcolm X what happened with Hinton Johnson and the whole incident. That's when a small group and Malcolm X went to the police station and demanded to see Johnson, because they wanted to see what happened, his injuries, and just make sure he was in good, just make sure that he was being taken care of and he was getting the right proper medical treatment. So at first, when Malcolm X first got there, the police denied that they had any Muslims being held at that jail. But what the police didn't know, as they were denying Malcolm X access, the crowd was growing to about 500 plus. So the only option was to let Malcolm X see Hinton Johnson. As soon as Malcolm X seen Hinton Johnson, he arranged for an ambulance to take Johnson to the Harlem Hospital to get treated, because he wasn't getting no treatment or no medical treatment at the hospital, at the jail, at the prison. They just, of course they ain't gonna give him no treatment. But so because of Malcolm X, he got Hinton Johnson's to the hospital, the Harlem Hospital, and got him the right proper medical treatment. During that month, New York City Police Department arranged to keep Malcolm X under surveillance. As for the officers who beat the African American man, as well as Hinton Johnson and the other 2 Nation of Islam members, they were declined, and they didn't get indicted, basically. So that resulted in Malcolm X sending an angry telegram or angry letter to the police commissioner at the time. And that led to the police department assigning undercover officers to infiltrate the Nation of Islam. And I would say that's kind of expected, simply because you write an angry letter to the police commissioner of the New York City Police Department. So, of course, they would have to take the necessary actions. But I would say for the Nation of Islam, I think their best thing would have been to vet everybody who, especially the new members, with all the tension, the controversy going on between the Nation of Islam and the police department. They should have vetted all the new members instead of just allowing anybody just to come within the nation. That's just my personal opinion. But back to Malcolm X. In the late 1950s, Malcolm X was going by Malcolm Shabazz or Malik El Shabazz, even though the world knew him as Malcolm X. In 1959, a New York City TV broadcast featured Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. It was called The Hate That Hate Produced. And I believe they got that name from, of course, the hate that the hate produced is the hate for African Americans produced the Nation of Islam. And Nation of Islam started hating, I would say, white American, Caucasian American, white Americans, same thing. So that's where they basically got the name from. In September 1960, Malcolm X was invited to attend unofficial functions of several African nations at the United Nations General Assembly. At this assembly, he met Gamal Abdul Nasser of Egypt, Ahmed Sékou Touré of Guinea, and Kenneth Kaunda of the Zambian African National Congress. And his other guests that he met, nobody big, but Malcolm X also met with Fidel Castro publicly and privately. The conversation that Malcolm X and Fidel Castro had fascinated Castro so much that he invited Malcolm X to have a private 2-hour meeting with him, as well as invited Malcolm X to Cuba. Imagine that. So, but who knows? I don't think he ever took that trip to Cuba. Malcolm X was in the Nation of Islam from 1952 through 1964. And many whites and blacks were alarmed by Malcolm X's statements during his time within the nation. And he did have some outrageous statements, like even though he was fighting for what he believed in, but he still, if you heard his statements or if you heard any speeches on YouTube or any of your classes or just overall in general, you knew that Malcolm X was, I want to say, didn't give no fucks, basically. He only believed in what he believed in and cared about, so he didn't give no fucks about anything else but that. So he would say the most outlandish things. Also recommending watching the autobiography of Malcolm X. And that's a good movie, and that's one of my favorite movies. I watched it for the first time and just was fascinated and just fell in love with the movie. So Malcolm X, directed by Spike Lee. I believe, Denzel Washington starred in it. So check it out if you've seen, and it'll give you like a real insight on basically the whole, how everything transpired, everything that went on, like every event that I'm talking about. It's in that movie, and it's very educational, and it's one of my favorite movies, like I said. But Malcolm X was the second most influential leader in the Nation of Islam after, Elijah Muhammad. He was credited with the group's dramatic increase in membership between early 1950s and early 1960s. The membership grew from 500 people to 25,000 people. Imagine that. I believe Malcolm X just had a lot of power, and the way he spoke and the way he presented himself and the way he carried himself, you just want to gravitate towards him and towards it and just be about what he's a part of, because what he's saying is just really it makes you want to get up and fight. Like I said, it's like a gravitating energy where you just want to pull in and just be a part of what he's talking about and be a part of the culture and the whole Nation of Islam. So I can imagine, like I said, it went from 500 people to 25,000 people within a 10-year span. He put in a lot of work. He also inspired Cassius Clay to join the Nation, and the two became best friends, close. Cassius Clay brought Malcolm X and his family to Miami to watch him train for Sonny Liston. But when Malcolm X decided it was time to leave the Nation of Islam, he tried to bring Cassius Clay, who was renamed by Elijah Muhammad, to Muhammad Ali to join. Basically, Malcolm X was trying to get Cassius Clay, aka Muhammad Ali, out of the Nation of Islam and get him to convert to Sunni Islam. But that's when Ali had to break ties with Muhammad Ali. I don't want to say Muhammad Ali. He had to break ties with Malcolm X simply because he was just too dedicated to in with the Nation of Islam, and he believed the teachings and everything. So he was like, "No, I got to cut ties with you. You trying to get away from the religion." But at the time, he didn't see it all the way through, and Muhammad Ali said he regrets breaking ties with Malcolm X. But the Sunni Islam is the largest domination of Islam, followed by 87 to 90% of the world's Muslims. So that's what most of majority of the Muslims go by, is Sunni Islam. In March 8th, 1964, Malcolm X announced his break from the Nation of Islam. He felt the nation had gone as far as it can because of its rigid teachings. He was still Muslim, but he wanted to organize a black nationalist organization to heighten the political consciousness of African Americans. So Malcolm X wanted to break. He broke ties with the Nation of Islam because he seen that their path or they have gone as far as they can. Like, they wasn't going anywhere else. They met they met their cap, I want to say. So he decided, like, he wants to bring more African Americans together to view the political side of things. So that's where he, like I said, he tried to organize a black nationalist organization, which is wise. So with that being said, the Nation of Islam didn't like that, honestly. They was like, they cared because at the time, Malcolm X was, like I said, the second most influential person in the Nation of Islam. So the second most influential person leaving it, and what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? So there was repercussions to that, and I'm going to give y'all a break, and then I'm going to get right back into it. So Malcolm X broke his ties with the Nation of Islam, and that resulted in him getting threatened by the Nation of Islam all throughout 1964. In February of 1964, a leader of the Temple No. 7 ordered the bombing of Malcolm X's car. In March, Elijah Muhammad told Barton minister Louis X, aka Louis Farrakhan, that hypocrites like Malcolm should have their heads cut off. That's crazy. Elijah Muhammad was so infuriated with Malcolm X and what he did. He really cut ties and disowned him and really wanted his head. I will just put it simple like that. On February 19th, 1965, Malcolm X told interviewer Gordon Parks that the Nation of Islam was actively trying to kill him. Once again, if you check the Malcolm X autobiography movie, that discuss everything. It tells play-by-play of his whole life, and it's a really good movie. It's really captivating. It'll bring you in. So check it out. I want to, if you do watch it, let me know what you think. Like I said, it's one of my favorite movies, and I really love that movie, man. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I might have to watch it tonight. But on February 21st, 1965, Malcolm X was preparing to address the OAAU in Manhattan's Auburn forget my butchering of the name. When somebody in the 400-person audience yelled, "Nigger, get your hand out my pocket," and that just caused a big old ruckus. As Malcolm X and his bodyguards were trying to defuse the situation, a man pushed forward and shot him in the chest with a sawed-off shotgun. Then two others charged the stage, firing semi-autos at Malcolm X. It's crazy, man. He really was trying to make a movement and a statement, and the Nation of Islam wasn't really having that. But Malcolm X was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. shortly after arriving at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. The autopsy identified 21 gunshots to the chest, left shoulder, arms, and legs, including 10 buckshot rounds from the shotgun. That's crazy. They really want to make that statement of, I think they just want to make that statement that nobody leaves the Nation of Islam without them really their say so. But that's deep. That's deep. Deeper than what I'm saying it is. But that's what basically I took it as. They wasn't letting him go. Like I said, he was the second most influential person in the Nation of Islam. And for him to walk away and still trying to keep his precedence and keep his whole moral standing, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So one of the gunmen was a Nation of Islam member named Talmadge Hayer, aka Thomas Hagen, and he was beaten by the crowd before the police arrived. Witnesses identified the other gunmen as Nation members Norman Butler and Thomas Johnson. All three were convicted of murder in March 1966 and sentenced to life in prison. In 2020, like I was discussing earlier, this year they made this docuseries, Who Killed Malcolm X? Forgive me for that. And it basically explored the assassination, which also launched a new review of the murder by the Office of the Manhattan DA. So, Malcolm X was a powerful figure, too powerful for the Nation of Islam to just let him walk away just like that. And for his time with them, the Nation of Islam, and what he did and what he established, like I said, he built the Nation of Islam from 500 to 25,000. He was the second most influential person in the Nation of Islam. And everyone he spoke to, like I said, they just gravitated towards him and his energy, and they just loved what he was about and just loved who he was as a man, as a figure to society. But the more people that love you, there will be even more people that hate you. And that's just life, man. Man, but Malcolm X was always been like one of my heroes for what he did, what he's done, and what he accomplished, and what he established. Like I said, his movie is one of my favorite movies, the Malcolm X movie. I have to read the autobiography of Malcolm X. That's on my list. A lot of people have been telling me to read that book, so I'm gonna read that book as well. If you read that book, let me know what you think of it. Or if you also seen the movie Malcolm X, let me know what you thought of it. Hit me up at Sanai Podcast on any social media platform, as well as SanaIPodcast@gmail.com. And I just want to hear what y'all think about this episode and the reviews, and what y'all think about just every episode that I discussed and did this month. We did it, man. February is over. We went through every episode dealing with Black History Month and different Black history aspects and different people within the Black history and the historical figures. So, appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, Monday show, I'm going to introduce mental health. It's going to be everything, what I've learned about mental health, and then we'll get deeper into it as the shows progress throughout March. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, liking the show, subscribing, taking the time to listen to it, as well as giving me feedback. If y'all text me feedbacks and leaving me comments, I greatly appreciate it. Love y'all for taking the time out y'all days to indulge and really tune into the podcast and really just show appreciation of it, man. I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great weekend. Like I said, I'm back again on Monday for March for Mental Health. That's what we're doing all of March. I hope y'all have a great weekend, a blessed weekend. Stay focused and stay driven and stay ambitious, man. The grind never stops. Sanai, XO, we out.